Hey everybody, Kim here at Lead Generation Source. I've got Chrissy on. She's just on mute at the moment. Let me know if you can see our screen and hear me. And again, it's looking like we don't have very many attendees today. Hey Linda, good to see you. Chrissy was just commenting that maybe we need to change the time on this, but I said, no, if people can't say when, because that's the whole thing. So we asked before and everybody was like all over the place. So anyway, we'll just go ahead and get started. And then at the end of the year, we'll just reevaluate. All right. So this week is, Linda, at the end, it gives me a final report of how many people were actually attended and how many people attended the whole time, etc. So I get to see, and who they are for that matter. So it's not like somebody can go, oh yeah, I was on there. I'll know that they weren't, because oh no, I watched, that's on YouTube and anybody can see that on the views. There's a couple, we get, I don't know, a few, but not as many as I'd like to see. And I think that's partly because they're long. I understand that, but that's the only way we can get in enough information about a concept. Because if you do 2 minutes over e-commerce marketplaces, that's not going to work very well. Yeah, there's a lot of information. And that's the thing, is a lot of people will go pay $2,500 or $5,000 for a course. They have 5 hours of content spread out through like a gajillion videos. And when all is said and done, they don't get enough information to be able to execute anything. And yet they keep buying the programs. So it cracks me up that we don't have more people watching, but they may not even be able to find us too, right? Because that's part of it, is they have to see it. And Facebook's our primary, the Facebook group is our primary method of sharing it. And the algorithms change on Facebook, which we'll talk about when we talk about Facebook. But with the algorithm changing, it's like, yeah. So if you share it, you need to share it from the main Lead Generation Source page. Well, I don't know. Maybe I can have it, because usually if you share it from the group, it won't let you, because that's a Facebook setting. But we'll have to test that. I'll have to test that. We'll look at that. But yeah, if more people shared it, more people would probably see it then. Yeah, definitely. All right, so let's talk about e-commerce marketplaces today. So this is session 5. And so far we've covered e-commerce monetization methods and business models. So like print on demand, and let's see, we talked about like wholesale and all those different monetization methods and business models. Then we talked about niche marketing and keyword research, which is actually important. Keyword is ironically really important, even though it's not necessarily a driving factor for how something sells, but it's really important for connecting information. And then we also talked about product research and how to find products that are selling well and how to find out, get ideas and inspiration. Session 4, which was supposed to be about print on demand, is still delayed due to the recent issues we had with our print on demand company. It's just going to take us some time to test some other ones. We do have a print on demand course that goes with Printful for those who are using Printful, or for anybody who is like, hey, I just need something to get started. Just, reach out and we'll definitely get that for you. Now, this week, we're going to look at different e-commerce marketplaces. And I kind of thought, oh, maybe we shouldn't focus on just e-commerce marketplaces. We should add something else in, but I don't want to make this 1 billion hours long. And I also don't want to, Cassandra, baby, can you take that into your room, please? I guess it'll be after she's done whatever she's doing. Anyway, so the e-commerce marketplaces are important to look at how many options there are and to discuss the different options. So I figured we should just focus on that, because where you sell is really important. And Linda asks, is Printful still a good one? Yeah. Yes and no. So we mostly focus on leggings, and that's where we do leggings, and they expanded a couple months ago. They expanded into, and I guess it was probably earlier in the year, but they've finished expanding into other countries. So like, for example, Mexico, and the products are wonderful, right? We love the products themselves, but we're having problems with shipping. So like anything international, when you start shipping products from another country into the US, somehow everything fails miserably, and it doesn't seem to matter. There's a very high percentage of problems with that. Chrissy, did you have something to say?
Yeah. So I also have a problem, like it's not necessarily their fault, because what happens is it comes up from Mexico in through California. And for whatever reason, I guess there was a fire there recently or whatever, but there's been a huge delays in shipping out of California. And like all of my orders that are going in or through California have had 2 and 3 days delays minimum, which is weird, like, especially with priority, but it's been happening. And so people have been reaching out to me saying, hey, can you find, I mean, some of them, I had one that went through California for whatever reason, and it was detoured to Hawaii. And I'm like, I think that was the wrong thing that they put it on. But the point is that for whatever reason, I'm having tons of shipping problems with my regular business through California. And so I'm assuming that when we've been having our problems is coming up from Mexico in through California, and that's where the shipping problems are. If we wanted to, I think we can select only ship from a certain area, but we haven't done that yet. And we just didn't want to push it if they're having problems, or if California's having problems, since one of their hubs is in California.
Yeah, that we just ship with the leggings, as most of our products are the leggings, but it's not just the leggings that ship out of there though. So that's it just depends on the product. And that's where we're looking at. We're going, look, if we can't get the product, which by the way, I should say, despite the problems, we've still gotten our products to the customer on time, with the exception of when there was something weird with the address and there was nothing we could do about that. So
that was the shipping company completely.
Yeah, that was the shipping company. So there's so many variations. It's just that there's such a high percentage of problems. And I ship my own products out, and I use the USPS, which is postal service, and I don't have any problems. You know, I mean, hold on. I very rarely have any problems, and that's mostly because I now go in, I take my package in, I have them scan it. So I go through great lengths to make sure that it's processed the right way, even though they try to set it up so easy so you can just drop it in the Dropbox or something. Yeah, if you do that, they can easily steal it, which I think they used to do with our products. So we stopped doing that. My husband and I, we both ship out, and we stopped completely. So every time I take it in, but
that's because you're in a high population area.
So they steal everything?
No, well, we had the door come off of ours. Someone broke it, and they left it open for like a week until they finally realized, oh, someone can actually climb in here through this hole. And so then they blocked it off. But it wasn't until it was like a week after the door had been pulled off. I was like, you guys are way too trusting. Seriously.
Yeah. So, but now you have to understand. So Linda, you can ask more questions at the end, but just to clarify this for anybody, especially on the replay and everything, that both Chrissy and I and my husband, all three of us, we ship physical products that we have, right? And so we have less problems because we control the product and the shipping process from our end. And when we're using a print-on-demand company, we don't control that process. And so as long as the print-on-demand company is doing what they're supposed to be doing, then there should be no problems. The fact that there are so many problems and their customer service is just, you want to punch them in the face, because they are rude. They blame you every time. And then they tell you, but it's not really a problem. It's like a week late. Why is it not a problem?
You should have checked tracking.
Yeah, the tracking that wasn't updating. So yeah. So that's mostly the problem we're having. And until Printful gets their act together with at least their customer service, then yeah, Linda, I heard that Randy went away from the partnership they had before. So he might be, the print tech might be worth looking into, but keep in mind that print tech didn't have the printing quality that we wanted on our products.
Well, they didn't have leggings back then, did they?
Yeah, they still don't have the I don't think they have the full leggings that we have. So that's the other thing, is it depends on what product you want. In fact, they don't carry a lot of the products that we want to sell. So that's one of the problems we ran into. So
I'm having a hard time getting away from merch by Amazon. That one's got great quality products right now, and they're doing a great job filling them. They're actually like giving an estimate of a day after what they actually been filling. So they've been doing really well filling my orders when getting them out. So
wait, who is this?
Amazon.
Oh yeah,
the merch by Amazon stuff.
Yeah, but they're not your customers. So speaking of that, so
I'm
hey, that was a good bridge into, hey, let's talk about marketplaces, right?
Right.
So what are e-commerce marketplaces? So we're going to talk about our collective definition from Wikipedia is an online marketplace or online e-commerce marketplace. There's interchangeable terms, is a type of e-commerce site where product or service information is provided by multiple third parties whereas transactions are processed by the marketplace operator, emphasis added by me. So the key among this is that you as the seller are not the site owner, right? It's somebody else, it's the marketplace that owns the site, and you are a third party seller on there, okay? And it'll make more sense as we go through too. So there are some benefits and disadvantages of e-commerce marketplaces. So some benefits: marketplaces usually have people visit the site directly without marketing from you, and you'll see the numbers as we go through some of the marketplaces. What this means is that you don't have to do marketing and you can still have people see your products. This does not guaranteed, but it's possible. Now, bigger marketplaces have their own marketing to bring people into the marketplace. I don't watch TV almost ever. In fact, for the first time in I don't know how long, I watched a show the other day and had to mute every single commercial that came on because I just can't handle commercials. Not to mention that when you binge watch stuff, you get to see the whole storyline, and when it's broken up by commercials, I can't tell you how fragmented it feels. I'm like, wait, hold on, I'm lost. I just got distracted by something, right? So I don't like commercials, and so I typically stream stuff. But we were at I had to go do lab work for our insurance company, requires it, blah. And I'm sitting in there and they had the TV on and this commercial popped up. And I was watching it and I was like, and it was funny because the guy was like daydreaming about this table. It was a hilarious commercial. So I watched it, and because there was nothing else to do. And it was from Amazon. And I was like, oh my gosh, Amazon's running commercials. That is insane, because they used to only do it during the holidays, which we are coming up to. But now it looks like they're extending out a little bit more. So Amazon doing the marketing means that they're bringing free traffic to you because you're not paying for it directly. You are paying for it through your selling fees and everything else. But that marketing is coming in and you're not having to pay for it directly. So you're not paying for that ad. You're paying for your selling and everything. But yeah, right, Linda. Yeah, the big night with the teams play football, huh? So another benefit is that the marketplace is the brand. So yes, you have your brand and you're selling as your brand, but people don't look at, like I'm selling EP Laser. And I'm selling on Amazon. They don't go to Amazon and go, oh, wow, I'm looking for the EP Laser products. Sometimes they do, right? There's probably few and far between. And some people may look for a specific brand knowing it's on there, but because they're buying it there because they trust Amazon. So because they trust Amazon, your brand, if it's relatively unknown or if you're a new brand, this is a benefit to you because it's going to increase the trust for your brand through Amazon, through Etsy, etc., through the marketplace. And this, of course, tends to increase conversions. So if you were to compare that to somebody seeing the eplaser.com site versus somebody seeing Amazon and not knowing who I am, they would be more likely to purchase my product on Amazon rather than my site, just simply because they trust the Amazon brand. So that is a significant benefit to marketplaces. And there are more benefits. I just didn't want to go through a huge spiel on this. We've talked about it before, and really it comes down to the marketplace. Now, here are some disadvantages, only some disadvantages, by the way. There are some others, and again, some other benefits, but customers are generally not your customers, but instead marketplace customers, such as Amazon. Now, depending on the marketplace, they may go as far as to block customer information. For example, while on Etsy, as of right this second, you can still get email information, right, Chrissy? Like you get the customer's email?
Yes.
Yeah, I anticipate that will eventually change. But Amazon, you cannot get the email from the person.
Well, they won't be able to change it unless they come up with a better way to communicate. And with them doing all their changes, communications was that the messages through Etsy were down for a while. So the only way we could communicate was through email. So we have to have it right now while they're shifting to their cloud-based stuff. So it's going to be months, maybe years before they remove it.
Right, but that's because Etsy currently relies on communication between you and the seller and not them. Amazon instead has customers contact them for problems.
Yes, Etsy does not like people calling them at all.
Right. So that's until they shift their attitude about that. So Amazon is more about them controlling the customer. So it depends on the marketplace. But even still, Etsy, if you read their terms of service, it's not your customer, it's an Etsy customer. Right? You're not supposed to use that email or their information for purposes other than contacting them about the sales.
About that order.
Right, the sales they've had with you. So There are some marketing things that Etsy has implemented that you can pay for to go through them, but they still want it through them. So all of these marketplaces, they're collecting customer data, and that's what makes them so valuable. So another disadvantage is that there's significant competition for most products or services. And so think keywords in this case, not necessarily brands, right? So for me, when I sell on Amazon, I'm not selling EP laser products, even though I am. I'm selling Celtic ornaments. I'm selling realtor ornaments. I'm selling, Pipple ornaments. I'm selling specific keyword products because that's what the competition is. People don't typically go there and type in, they might do like iPhone, right? They might do that, but they might not. But let's say that they're looking for something general. They were going to probably go in and say, I'm looking for a slow cooker. They're probably not looking for a specific brand. And that, of course, will be percentage wise. Some will, some won't. But for the most part, most of the searches are going to be more general. And so that's what you're looking for, is more keywords than anything. And there's significant competition on these. Another disadvantage is that you have limited methods of listing your item. So let's say that you have a listing, and this is, as an example, most of the platforms, including Amazon and Etsy, and I think even eBay, so all of our top ones, they don't allow you to just put whatever you want on there. You have a maximum number of pictures, certain sizes you can put on there. Amazon requires you to have white background for your primary image, right? Etsy doesn't, thankfully. I don't think eBay does either. But, Amazon has that requirement. So you have all of these requirements. So you have a limit on how you can present your information. You can't put videos on almost any of these. So, and yes, if you're like, oh, wait a second, I've seen videos on Amazon. That's because Amazon specifically chooses the products that typically they sell to allow video on. So like I have a video on mine, but it's not up in the featured part. You have to scroll down and look and say, oh, look, there is a video there. And I don't know if it's helpful or not because Amazon ran out of my inventory. So you're very limited on how you can present your information. Whereas on your own website, you could put a video, you could put multiple videos, you could put lots of pictures, you can put, customer information that you typically wouldn't get elsewhere. So there's a lot of different options that you have with your own site. Another disadvantage, and this is a significant disadvantage if you run your own marketing, and that is you're not able to retarget or capture visitor data. So you can't go, hey, let me put my Facebook pixel on this page, because none of the marketplaces will allow you to do that. Now, Etsy has some sort of integration to a degree, but it's unclear how that works, right? They can't clarify how it functions. And it looks like it's mostly running through, since you can't put your own code on there, run it all on your own. It has to run through Etsy's connection. That means that there's something else going on there, right? There's more than just, oh yeah, I get to connect it through theirs. That's not, if they can't just let you put the code in, then there's a reason why. So they don't want you putting like all of the retargeting ones on there because they want to control the amount of money that they're getting. Cassandra? Was that you? Hello? You scared the crap out of me. Thanks. Anyway, my husband just walked in making creepy sounds. That's my husband, right?
I think so.
Well, I can't see you. Drive me. No, I can't. I have headset on. Hello? Seriously. Yeah, I texted you. Thanks. Yeah, I can't. I don't have time to move it. I'm on my webinar, though. Thank you. I guess I need to put a sign up. All right, so limited on the options, not able to retarget. And then the last one is that I decided to list was that you have additional fees for listing, selling, and then of course for products and services and everything. So you have these fees. Sometimes they're seller fees, sometimes they're listing fees, sometimes they're specific to a type of product or type of service. And if they have like what they call referral fees or closing fees. I mean, there's a ton of different fees that can be included in there. And that can add up depending on what you're doing. Now, I will say while we're here and talking about that though, is that the amount of fees that I have that I sell. So I do both. I have selling. So I sell. So it's $39.99 a month to sell on Amazon for professional. Then it's also, they also have like, it's about 15%, I think, for my products, for closing fees, 20% on my jewelry. And while that sounds like a lot, if I were to spend that same amount in marketing, to go to my site, I probably still wouldn't get as many sales. So I also do ads on Amazon, but because that I get so many more people on Amazon and I can get in front of them for so much cheaper than if I were trying to be on Facebook or even promoting on Pinterest or something. So if I'm going to promote somewhere, or if I'm going to be, you got to look at the amount that is, right? So if you're like, oh, hey, I want to sell 1,000 ornaments. How can I sell 1,000 ornaments? Oh yeah, I can sell them on my site, but then I have to drive enough traffic to be able to get 1,000 sales on my site. And how much money is that going to cost in traffic? And so while you do have these additional fees, so Linda asked how much are ads on Amazon? It depends on the price. Like, so you can cap it. It's just like if you were to be on, I was going to say like Google or whatever, but a lot of these platforms have changed. So Amazon's actually one of the easiest ways to list an ad. And that is what, for me, like for an example, I will do a cost per click and max it out. I never hardly ever go up to $1 a click. So think about that. I hardly ever go to $1 a click. And that's usually during Christmas. I still don't have to reach $1 a click. Now it depends on the product. I've seen some keywords in there, because it's based on keyword again, that it's like $5 and $6. And I'm like, okay, if I pay that per click and if 5 people click on it, I'm in a negative. So I typically will only run ads for the products that I know sell well. So I'll test it, maybe spend $50 testing. And if they don't sell in that $50 for that keyword, I nix the keyword. And some products I stopped sending in fulfillment by Amazon just because it costs too much to run the ads and everything else. And I was like, okay, so, and that's part of the process, right? You can't just go, oh yeah, I have one product, I'm going to put it out there, I'm going to be a millionaire somehow. It just doesn't work that way. You have to do your testing. And anybody who says, oh yeah, it just takes one product. Yeah, well, it doesn't take just one product. It takes a lot of products, a lot of testing, and a lot of research before you get to the point where you are streamlining and being more efficient. Like, for example, I even cut my ad spend down by like 50% from, let's see, what year are we in, 2019, from 2017 to 2018, right? Because I was able to fine tune which products were the best ones to focus on and everything else. So I could easily sometimes I spend $2 a month and I'll still sell like 15 or 20 ornaments in that month. And during Christmas, it's a lot higher, of course. I might spend $20 on the ads for the entire month for that product, but do like $5,000 in sales. So it just all depends on how well I can fine tune and match. I have to have a good product in front of the right audience at the right price. And when that all aligns, it goes really well. Now, I also say right price. And here's a little side note, is that cheaper is not always necessarily the right price. I have one product that I dropped to $14.99 and it sold worse. So I put it back up to $19.99 and it started selling better. So it was pretty insane. Yeah. So in fact, here, let me show you real quick. If we're on Amazon, and if I type in, actually, since it's not there, this might be a bad one to type in. And I don't know what ads I'm running right now because I don't have much stock right there. I'm going to try Realtor Ornaments and see if I have that running. Well, I come up organically. So, but see, like here's a sponsored one. So it just kind of depends. Like Amazon chooses how many sponsored ads they're doing. Like this is all new. They used to not have this. And it depends on the keyword. They're constantly testing. They are worse than Facebook on testing stuff. But they have so many views. That's like the only way they can do it. So yeah, ads show up. So like, let's say they type in a specific keyword and I'm paying for that keyword, it'll show up in the sponsored ones. And they don't do sponsored just at the top, but those are typically the ones that'll get clicked on. So, all right. So that's some advantages and disadvantages, or benefits and disadvantages of marketplaces. So let's talk about some of the e-commerce platforms. Let's talk about the big ones that are always talked about: Amazon, eBay, and Etsy, right? So Amazon is literally the largest e-commerce marketplace with millions of products listed. I mean, millions. They have I think they even have maybe close to 1 million, if not more, sellers on their platform. Now, Statistica.com reports that Amazon.com had almost 2.65 billion with a B combined desktop and mobile visits just in July 2019. Okay, so that would be July. That's the most recent information available. So that would be just the month of July. So times that by 12. And I don't know how many of these are unique or not. It's really hard to tell numbers. Like if you go to SimilarWeb, if you guys have ever heard of this. So that one's from Statistica. So let's look at SimilarWeb real quick. Look at Amazon and see what they say. So it's the number one in their specific category of e-commerce and shopping. And you have to wait. I don't know why the site takes so long to load. I would say because I'm live, but it was doing it earlier too. So this one, they say right now in March, April, May, June, July, August, it looks like they're averaging it out over the last, it says total visits, 2.22 billion. And this is, and I don't know, see, it's hard to tell with them, but I think that's monthly visits, 2.22 billion. So they have it a little bit lower, but that's, again, it just depends on where you go for information, but they can give you an idea of how many. And so a lot of the information we pulled for page views is based on SimilarWeb. So eBay, this is more of an auction style site, includes new and used items. Now, Amazon, I should say Amazon does have used items, and we've sold several books that way in the past, but they tend to focus more on new items. Like that's more of what Amazon is more of new items and getting products out to people that are, just like you were going into a store. So they're like the traditional e-commerce experience just on a marketplace. Whereas eBay is more like is an auction style, and that's how it is traditionally as well. They do have buy it now, and they even have some that have shops, but it's still auction style, still seems to be extremely popular on there. And they have 1.2 billion page views per month. Now, Etsy is not actually a top e-commerce platform, but it is growing and it is fairly popular because of its categories. But I want you to see that they have a focus more on arts and crafts, handmade, and vintage, right? That's what they mostly focus on. Now, they have supplies and a variety of other topics that can fit into different categories, but that's their focus, is more arts and crafts, handmade, and vintage. And they have 2.2 million page views per month. So that's around 10% of the amount of Amazon's page views. So if you're going, my husband reminds me of this all the time. I'm like, I don't understand why my ornaments don't sell better on Etsy. And he goes, because they have lower demand and traffic on there. And I'm like, well, I don't know. Well, okay, yeah, here's why. 2.65 billion, 2.2 million. Right now, this 2.65 billion is probably going to jump up during the holidays, by the way. So if you think about how many people are on here, that's going to be, yeah, well, it's not that I didn't know that, Linda. It's just that it's one of those, you have to be reminded of it sometimes. So you're on a platform, it's not working. Why isn't it working? There's a variety of reasons. There are plenty of people who sell on Amazon and don't do well. And then, I don't think Chrissy's business could sell on Amazon, mostly because she'd probably sell out in about 5 seconds and be too, if she could find her audience, that is, and be too.
In 5 seconds, I'd hire people to fill out orders and stop. I wouldn't do it anymore because I'd have enough money to go on vacation.
Yeah, but you would spend 6 months just getting everything up there and ideally being on page 1, which I don't know if you could do it or not. We'd have to check into it. But it might be worth doing and testing just to see. But
it's hard to sell, period, what I sell on Amazon, because they've got their own website that does stuff like that.
Okay, well, we'll have to discuss that another time, because I think we're thinking of different things.
Yeah.
So anyway, so there are plenty of people who can't sell on Amazon because they can't get there, because they don't know how to SEO optimize, because there's too much competition, whatever it is. In fact, I've noticed that exact same that problem I have, is that the products that I have that don't sell very well is because there's too much competition. I cannot get in front of people, and it costs me too much money to get in front of people to make a profit, so I don't do it. So instead, I focus on my lower competition ones that have a higher demand compared to that. And so it's just one of those balancing games that I happen to fit into that. And it's a lot of research and a lot of testing, right? And I started selling on 2013. So that's another thing. I have a nice established seller platform. So if people go, oh, well, you can just start on Amazon today and make money in a week, that is rare. It is very rare. So but on Etsy, some people can get started on Etsy and be there. I will say though, I am surprised at the number of competition on Etsy. It's because they don't have all of the, so they're getting 2.2 million views and not 2.65 billion, but they have way more competition in every single area that I'm in because I hit this market. And because of that, this is a hyper focused audience. So they're going to be more likely to purchase the items that are arts and crafts, handmade and vintage, right? And mostly not vintage. It's mostly arts and crafts and handmade. So that means that even though it's only 10%, think about how much stuff, electronics and technology and office supplies and all the different things that are on Amazon. If you were to divide that out by the number of categories, this might be higher for for what they focus on, right? Per ratio. So that's exactly what I mean by just because it's not considered a top e-commerce platform based on number of views, that it's hyper focused for this. So keeping that in mind, let's look at some of the other platforms out there. And this is mostly what I wanted to cover today, was that let's talk about the platforms that are out there and like just kind of, I wanted to have one full list and I'm working on that because there's like over 100 platforms. But I mostly am focusing on US based because almost all of the companies that are out there are US based companies or focus on US sales because we waste the most amount of money. Just the way it is. So Walmart.com is one, and they report 3.3 million monthly visits, though Walmart claims to have over 100 million monthly visits. Unique nonetheless. So that's a huge disparity, and they cite a different source. So you can take it for what it is. I used the same source for all of the information, and that's why I'm just going to say, let's just compare the same source. Because if you if you don't, then you'll go crazy. So speaking of that, I missed one on here. Mistyping it in. But anyway, so we can talk about, so Walmart.com is a crappy version of Amazon. That's basically what it is. They have way more ads and junk on their pages and useless stuff that comes up. I cannot believe that people actually buy on Amazon. Like, I cannot believe that they convert at all because it's just insane at how horrible their site is. And I can't believe people go there and shop. But hey, whatever.
Walmart, right?
Yeah, Walmart. Sorry, not Amazon. Though Amazon is getting there.
So is Etsy.
Yeah, they're all getting there on their ads. So, okay, that's why I didn't have it. Never mind. All right, so they don't have seller fees, supposedly, but they do have referral fees ranging from 8 to 20%. So that's similar to Amazon fees there. But it requires an application process, and they do close this down sometimes, and it can take a long time to get through their application process. In fact, they only, I think I tried to get on about 1.5 years ago, and they had their application process was closed down, and they said invitation only. In fact, a lot of people reference the fact that it says invitation only. So it doesn't say that anymore. You can go on and apply, but it still could take 6-8 months. I don't even know. It could be a week. It could be a year. Who knows? So Walmart likes to pretend that they're exclusive, but then you go in there and you see some of the crap they're selling and you go, why do you have an application process? Because it doesn't look like you're doing anything with it. So who knows? But that is one that's out there. Sears.com has 13.9 million monthly visits. And you can see that we're in the millions, right? So millions is still pretty good. If you're thinking about Sears, you're thinking about Walmart. I mean, a lot of these, if you're in the millions, which look, Sears, I'm surprised Sears has more than Walmart. But they are mostly a physical location. Like they, right. Sears, yeah. Well, and I think that's part of their strategy too, right? I think they're going more online and spending less money on their local stuff. But yeah, Sears, I question their reasoning for closing it, but Sears and Kmart are both owned by the same company, and they both have closed. Did they shut down all their Kmart stores? I think they did. Yeah, we've never had any here that I know of. So anyway, so Sears.com, they're more like Amazon as far as they have a lot of stuff, and they even have a fulfilled by Sears option, right? They have a fulfilled by Sears option. So this is one that would be interesting if you have the right match on products. And of course, each of these I would recommend looking to see if it fits. So, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. So Jet.com is 1.6 million monthly visits. It's now owned by Walmart. So I should say that if Walmart pulls a Google, and they very likely will, eventually they'll just shift their Jet.com into Walmart.com. and shut down jet.com. But for now, jet.com remains its own separate entity and it's maintained. They also tout an application process, and they used to be very, very selective. So it used to be very difficult to get on jet.com. But the harder part about jet.com is that it also requires a third party tool for inventory. Like they have to have like within minutes inventory updates. So you, like on Amazon, if anybody's ever done a listing on Amazon or Etsy, you go in there and you put your inventory amount and you can go in there and you can adjust it manually. Jet.com doesn't have that. They have what is required to have an API integration of some sort to auto update from your own inventory. So it's basically a higher end, mostly for bigger brands then. So if you're small, there are some third-party tools for integration, but I think the cheapest I've seen starts at $50 a month. Plus they charge fees on top of that. So if you want one that doesn't charge fees, then you go even higher than $50 a month. So it just all depends on what you want to do. So jet.com may not be one you want to jump to first, especially since they're owned by Walmart. Bonanza.com is 4.7 million monthly visits. It's a lot, like they call it an eBay rival. I haven't used it very much, but it's supposed to be more of an auction site or anything. Wish.com is one that I think everybody sees an ad for if they're playing games on their phone or just browsing on anything on their phone. And it's because it's they put a ton of money into it. They've got a ton of people following it now at 83.7 million monthly visits. That's a lot when you look at that compared to, Jet and even Sears or even Walmart. I mean, look at these. These are 83.7 million monthly visits. You say slow boat purchases, Linda, but that's mostly because they're coming from China. And that's because I'm pretty sure they just have a connection straight to AliExpress and they just put a slight discount on or slight increase on the prices on there. But it is a discount shop and they tout 90% off of retail prices, etc. But they emphasize the app selling, right? App selling, so mobile sales. So they have highly targeted mobile sales and almost none of these other platforms have. I mean, Amazon, of course, but I mean, Walmart, I can't buy on Walmart. I can't even freaking buy on Kohl's and they got an app and it's a nightmare. So these all have apps and you can't, it's a nightmare, but you go to wish.com or you go on there. I think they have they have an app for it too. And they've made it very easy. And a lot of people have been like, hey, whatever burden there is to try to narrow it down is worth the price discount. So if you have something that you want to sell at a discounted prices, wish.com might be the place for it. Now, AliExpress.com, I included this only because it's showing up as integrations with everywhere. So it used to be you had to be in China to sell on AliExpress.com, but I have seen US sellers popping up. So I don't know all of the requirements. They do list a ton of extensive requirements on there, but at 538 million monthly visits, if you have a unique product or something that people can buy from you that is, the price is right, then this might be for you. And they, again, primarily sellers from China, a lot of drop shippers like to use this. It's known for cheap pricing. In fact, that is specifically listed on there. Cheap is listed on there. And they have extensive requirements to sell. So, but that might be worth it if you have something unique enough that people will be willing to sell. Now, I've seen AliExpress because of the taxation on China. I've seen a lot of the sellers leave their pricing and jump their shipping prices. So like you'll buy, for example, let's say that you're looking at a cheap cell phone on there and they're like, oh, it's $19.99. You're like, awesome, I can get a cheap smartphone. Just oh, that's awesome. And then you're like, oh, and then it's $29.99 to ship. And I'm like, what? $29.99 to ship? What? And so, I've seen a lot of that, that pricing jump up. So cheap may not be as relevant anymore if you consider the shipping expenses, but it might be something to look at if you want to. There's a lot of US buyers on AliExpress now. It is an international market though, so keep that in mind. 55mulberry.com. I've never heard of this site. I found it in my research and they sell clothing, jewelry, and accessories. It is not for print on demand. They specifically say they want to work with inventory places. So if you sell clothing, jewelry, or accessories and you have an inventory, this might be something that's on there. It's, I don't know, I guess fashion stuff, but I'm definitely not into that market. StoreEnvy.com. Now this one is interesting to me because I thought they were only digital, and I went on there today and I was like, whoa, this has changed a bit since the last time I was on there, which was probably a couple years ago. They tout 2.52 million monthly visits. Oh, and by the way, the reason why this one doesn't have a monthly visits is SimilarWeb didn't have enough data to tell me anything. So they may not get very many, who knows. But a 2.52 million monthly visits, StoreEnvy.com should not be ignored. It is traditionally arts and crafts focused, but touts the whole indie brands, right? So independent brands. So this would be not the ones that are big names. You wouldn't walk into Walmart and find them. These are going to be the smaller ones like us that are really focused on our own unique brand, so EP Laser, doing print on demand stuff, etc. I think Store Envy they talk about being able to set up your own custom store with them. I think they may be attached to their own print on demand as well. So that may be something to look at if that floats your boat. All right, so here's some other ones. Shop.com has 1.51 million monthly visits. It's a lot like Walmart or Amazon. Cratejoy.com has 1.02 million monthly visitors, and it's mostly focused on subscription boxes. Newegg.com has 24 million monthly visits, but they focus mostly on electronics and technology, which is great for finding stuff, but they don't even have the best prices usually either. So I don't know. I think my brother used to really like Newegg, but they've shifted in the last few years, and now they're just like, it's like basically looking for electronic stuff on Walmart, right? You find everybody and anybody in between, and they don't have the best products like they used to. Rakuten.com it's 50.6 million monthly visits, and it's more like Amazon, and it's focused specifically in the US, right? So it's specifically US ones. There's like a lot of these other ones that are like, oh, hey, like when you go in there to sell, you have to be in the US to sell as well. So if you're international, they have a bunch of requirements. Like you have to have a US bank account, a US credit card. I mean, so there's a lot, you have to jump through hoops for international. So they really focus on being able to track you down if they don't like what you're selling, I guess. Now, this is an interesting one that I found, and it didn't quite make it to the million monthly visits at 951,000, but pretty darn close. And this is AC Moore, and this is hyper focused on arts and crafts and handmade. And because of that, I included it because it is hyper focused. And it's something that if you're in that industry, or if you can find another marketplace that's hyper focused, like they have another one that's gunbroker.com. I mean, there's a bunch of them. Like I said, I'm trying to make a list, but there's a lot of them. So I'll keep working on that list. But so AC Moore might be one that you can look at. I don't know if I would include print on demand on there or not, but it might be worth looking at if you do print on demand, because it says handmade, and they may specifically want handmade, but I think I saw a couple of things that looked like they were more print on demand. So it might be worth looking at if that is one. I didn't do enough research to tell you yes or no on that yet. And if you want to wait, you can, and then I'll get around to it eventually. Now, I included the Facebook shop and marketplace because it's there. And there's been questions about that in our group and on webinars in the past. But I'm going to say that the visits that are specifically to the shops or marketplace is unknown, right? Because if they're looking at Facebook.com, they're looking at that core traffic. And a lot of people are going to Facebook.com to look at cat videos. So because of that, I don't know how much traffic is there. I don't know how much of the marketplace they're emphasizing. And to be honest, the shop itself is not much of a marketplace, but there are marketplace options on the Facebook marketplace. I see mostly resale items on these or scam products. Like I don't see a whole lot of legitimate products that you can buy unless you're going into somebody's specific shop, but those don't show up in the marketplaces. So it's really, they're shifting a lot of stuff with this. And I'd say it's definitely an area to keep an eye on and see how well this works out, because Facebook already has, 2-point-something billion visitors a month. I think even maybe it might be higher than that. So if you think about it, they already have the traffic coming in. All they need to do is get products in front of people, and then they have a really good marketplace. But like I said, I don't know much about it. I don't have anything listed there. My shop is connected from a Shopify integration, but a lot of the stuff that used to work before doesn't work anymore because Facebook's trying to become their own individual marketplace. So again, I left that in there as something to keep an eye on. There are lots of other platforms, And these are just the top and longer running ones. So there's a bunch of them I have not covered. Let's see here, like Overstock. Like I didn't even talk about overstock.com. And part of the reason why I didn't talk about them is because the last time I saw them, they were not taking new applicants for people selling on the platform. So these are ones that I have checked. They all look like they were pretty legit to get on, like you could get on right now. Now, I will also say that almost all of these platforms, if not all of them, want brands. They want you to be a brand with multiple products within your brand to sell on them. Some of them don't care. Walmart wants brands, which is interesting. Let's see. I think almost all of these do. AliExpress is probably the only one that they say they want a brand, but they pretty much let anybody sell anything on there, right? So I take what they say about brands with a grain of salt. But all these other ones, this one, indie brands, they specifically mention it. So branding is a big thing. Somebody finally from the branding market got their marketing together and said, oh, hey, look, brands are important and here's why. I still feel like now it's like, I remember taking business classes back in my first couple of years of college, and they talked about brands and like nobody did it, right? I mean, that was 20 years ago or almost 20 years ago. And I go, oh, look, it only took them 20 years to get around to implementing what they were teaching back then. And it makes me very sad to think about what things like public safety have to go through. Anyway, so back on topic. So what platform should I sell on? Right. So many sellers start with big platforms of Amazon, Etsy, or eBay because there's more information to help them get started. Right. You can Google pretty much anything and get there. I took a course and I still promote. I really highly recommend if you're going to sell on Amazon, you do a course similar to, if not the course that I did. But it's a $5,000 course because it is very, very, very good. I made my money back that first year easy. And I had no problems. I was like, okay, I'm happy with what I've learned. And I can still go back and learn a lot more. I didn't even learn everything I could learn. So I just implemented a few things that I learned from there and was able to, quadruple 10 times, not a lot. I increased my sales significantly because of that. So if you think about how I got started on my own, but didn't make hardly any sales, I went through a course and was able to do it. Not every marketplace has that. So Amazon, Etsy, and eBay are the three top ones that do have courses for sale, have people that are out there giving information away for free, etc. So you have a much better chance of success because they can walk you through the things that are so difficult to overcome. Like, okay, how do I get such and such a checking account? Or how do I, overcome this particular selling dilemma? Or how do I SEO optimize on a particular platform? And it's going to make you more successful if you have access to that information. So that's why a lot of sellers start there. But that doesn't mean you can't be successful on another platform, right? You could go pick one. Let's see, we can pick a different one. We can go on to AC More and sell. And I think you have to go through a specific selling platform in order to sell on them. It's like $5 a month or something. Let's say if I wanted to go and specifically focus on that, though, I could start with them, see how it goes, and then if it, follow all the information they provide. Like, for example, another one, wish.com. They actually probably do have some information now, but up until recently, it was minimal, and they actually have all of their own built in. They give you all the information you need. Here's how you do this. Here's how you do that. Now, Amazon does too, but I wouldn't take anything they say with more than a grain of salt or at least with a grain of salt, maybe with more, because they like to tell you the official version, but not the way that actually works the best. So really what you want to do is you want to match the marketplace with what you sell. So for example, print on demand cannot be on some platforms like 55 Mulberry. You can cross that off if you only do print on demand. Okay, can't do that one. If you're doing print on demand, like we've talked about this before, Etsy, even though we sell print on demand items on Etsy, it's really not the platform for print on demand. Right? I mean, you've got to find one, and there might be a better one. Store Envy might be a better one. And so finding ones that match, you're going to be matching that price and everything else, that it might be worth looking at somewhere else. The biggest thing with, I think, print on demand is that people only go with the platforms that integrate with the print on demand company. So that tends not to be where it tends to be the ones that are easiest to have the API, et cetera, which is the big ones. And that means that you're going to be up against a lot of competition and your prices are higher. So this is one where you might want to go, okay, well, it's worth a little bit more manual work if I can get on a different platform. But again, that's when you need to go through the list. You need to go see if it works for you, and then if it works for your products. So craft items should be on craft platforms. I've tested craft items on Amazon, and honestly, craft in general doesn't get a whole lot of traffic on Amazon. So it's like, oh, hey, am I going to be able to I sell my ornaments, but I don't sell them as craft items, right? I used to sell wood laser engraved or laser cut out beads, and we did okay. We did better than most people on there, but it was one that it just wasn't cost effective for us to maintain because we were selling them individually. So I haven't gone back to check and see if I can sell them in bulk yet or not. Just on my to-do list one day. Then check your competition on each platform. I've mentioned this before. On Etsy, I have massive competition for all of my ornaments. Whereas on Amazon, I have less competition for some of the ornaments simply because they just have less people selling those. Other people are focused on Amazon, they're focused on bigger ticket items, or they're focused on bigger profit items, and that doesn't typically relate to an ornament. So I was able to sneak in on Amazon and get ahead of people because my competition was less, but there was a lot more traffic. So it's just one of those that happened to align. You can check that way and make sure that if you're looking at, hey, I have these 3 platforms that I could be on, Amazon, Etsy, or eBay, which one should I be on? Compare, use your keywords. And again, just because it's high traffic doesn't mean you always have high competition. It will depend on the platform. All right, so your to-do list, I did pretty good, almost right at an hour. Your to-do list is to identify what marketplaces are best for you and your product or products, and then take a look at them, see what the options are and get started as much as you can. Next time, we're going to talk about content marketing, blogging, and creating unique mock-ups. So Linda, since you are still the only one on, this is completely surprising. Did you have any questions? Okay.
You were talking about me selling out on Amazon. You're talking about my fabric, right?
Yeah, but you may not be. What?
They have a fabric company. They don't print it, but they sell it.
Okay.
They're a competitor of mine.
Right. So, okay, how do I explain this? They're not, because we've talked about this. You can get limited editions from your companies. You get limited editions of those. So when they sell out, it doesn't really matter.
Well, okay, so they actually have some of the same. Well, they don't even focus on flannel at all. To be honest, they have very limited, which is why I still do really well. But they have some of the same designs I have, and they sell it for more than me usually.
Right. So my point is that I'd have to look and see if, first of all, sometimes Amazon will block certain brands from being on there. So if you're reselling a brand,
well, no, I'm talking about on Amazon. Yeah, that would be. They don't have that on Amazon. This is a separate company that they own, that sells fabric by the yard.
That's what I'm saying. So if somebody's looking for that specific brand, like they do frequently, then and they're looking on Amazon for it, then you could probably be an exclusive seller on there simply because nobody else is selling it. Like
Michael Miller is a popular designer, and that's on, and Robert Kaufman and stuff like that. So yeah, people look for those specifically, but yeah, that's what you're saying.
Yeah, Linda, the one we're looking at is called Guten, and it's just because, let me pull it up. Let me see if I can get to it. So the reason why we're looking at Guten is because they have a lot of products. Now, this doesn't mean we're going to give up on Printful, I should say. But like I said, most of our products that have been selling have been leggings. And because of that and with the challenges we're having, we are looking at other options as well. So we're looking, this is Guten. These are the products that they have. So I'm under all of their products. So you can see they've got accessories, and a lot of this stuff doesn't show up anywhere else, right? So they do have their own unique ornament style on here, which is cool. I think I want to check that out. Totes and bags, travel and leisure, wearables, and you can go, what?
Click on it. Last time it was unavailable.
I was going to. Yeah, so that one's out of stock, but they have this one, and then porcelain. Oh, see, so is this all?
They have a weird filter thing on this. It's very strange.
Right, so
you're under accessories, yeah.
I'm under accessories, great. Okay, so you can click in, you can see there's a lot of different options. So for the replay, Linda asked, where are they? And they are, I think, all in the US, but Guten itself is not the place you're buying it from. They're a go-between, right? So they're like their own marketplace weirdly enough. But what they do is they bring the products in. So somebody is a supplier that does this, and they're the software that connects everything. So you're buying from Guten, but this particular manufacturer has agreed to provide this and drop ship it for them. So like the person who sells, or the company that sells this and the company that sells this may be located in different places in the US. So, and I don't know if they even go into the part where they will go break it down to where each one is. Let's see, metal magnets. See, so it'll tell you ship to worldwide from US. So it'll tell you where each one's from. Yeah, there's no, Linda, there's no one city. There's no one city. It's just they're from either somewhere in the US, and they may have a better list on which ones are from where.
Smaller companies that specialize also, because there's some of these things we can't find through any other print on demand company anywhere.
Yeah. And so they probably have exclusive contracts with some of them. But what's neat about it is that they handle the whole, so like when we're working with Printful is the manufacturer, right? And so if Printful messes up and we go, oh, hey, Printful, you messed up, what are they going to do? They're not going to go back to Printful and say, oh, you guys messed up. They're going to hopefully internally do something, but we're finding that's not the case. And so what happens on this one is, let's say that this particular company says, oh, hey, start screwing everything up and the orders are bad. Guten's going to go back to them and say, you fix it or you're not going through this, right? They're going to go through and they're going to say that to them. They're going to go, we're going to cut your contract and you're no longer. And honestly, Guten's huge. So it's not like it's something that you're like, oh, hey, I'm going to get 5 or 6 products. They have a ton of products they've contracted here with, right? I mean, it's just amazing. And so
testing on a lot of these just because I like the colorful handle mugs and,
yeah. So they do have canvas arts and prints and posters and stuff, and they do have shirts, and that's what was kind of, okay, this is obviously an all over here.
Right. They are very limited on their all over stuff. I will say that, but they do have some options.
Yeah. So it's not going to be as nice as the cut and sew stuff that we like. And look, their kids are very limited.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they don't even have, doesn't even look like they have. So that's why I said we may not give up on Printful because we do like some of the products they have. We may have to go back and just extend our shipping times.
Well, that was, okay, so the last problem we had is that they had marked it as being shipped and then it just never updated for like 4 or 5 days. So I finally contacted them and said, I don't understand why this isn't updating. They usually say 24 hours, 48 hours max. And they said, oh, we can't control what's going on. And then all of a sudden it updated an hour later saying basically it was just dropped off. And so I was really mad. And I was like, it was still within our time frame because they had created it so fast and had supposedly shipped it so fast. But I don't know if it was really done when they went to ship it or if they found a problem or what. They don't give you that information. So if they find a problem when they're shipping, when they're packaging it, they have to go back and redo the whole thing. They don't go into your account and say, okay, well, we found a problem, we're redoing it. They just redo it and then ship it back out. So
Oops. We
don't know anything about, the back end of that, unfortunately, but it may have been a really good thing that it happened, but we don't know. All we can do is say off of what they told us, and they're not going to give us that information just because we're not, technically part of the company. So we're just a little bit irked by it, and we're looking at. Plus, I want to get hand towels. I want hand towels, and I want, I want some other stuff. I want some rugs, like floor mats, whatever. I want some of that stuff.
Yeah, somewhere they have like a whole list where you don't get the pictures, you just have a list of stuff. But they've got, oh, look, body pillows. Those are cool. So like indoor, outdoor floor mats. Should be, okay, so that's outdoor space. So let's go to holiday decor then. And then, so yeah, they have a weird.
We're not completely sure how the integration works yet. We haven't tried that out yet.
Yeah. So those are some things.
Too.
Yeah, those are things that we've got to do some testing. Tablecloths, that'd be cool. Table runners, really great for the holidays. Placemats, all of these are fun things that, I don't see a whole lot of people capitalizing on. So the glass cutting boards, those are fun because you can put a picture on the back of them. I mean, I'm not a huge fan because I tend to break them like all the time. Yeah. We are planning on, oh gosh, I think it's we're planning on really running through everything this weekend and see the glass ones ruin your knives. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. I have other things that ruin my knives, so that's like the least of my concern. I typically don't even use a cutting board. I just pull it out and put it on the counter because the counter can handle it, or has so far at least. We'll find out later. I'm renting. What do I care? No, I'm just kidding. I'm not like that. It's just the counter can't handle it. And I usually don't use a sharp knife either. So there you go. But yeah, they've got a lot of fun things in here that are definitely worth giving a try. So yeah, they got the can coolers. Yeah. So this is what we're going to be testing out, and we will know more hopefully within the next week or two. I'd say within the next month. That's definitely on our plan, is within the next month to have information available. So we just haven't had a time, I'm juggling the stuff with Amazon going on. I've had multiple doctor's appointments for my daughter. And so it's just been lots and lots and lots of juggling. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Linda, the Printful still has a lot of other products that aren't on there, right? So let's look at, oh, wait, hold on. Let me pull that over. Oh, no, they have the regular site. So sorry, normally I'm logged in and it takes you to weird places. So they have like embroidered hats. Didn't see that over there. They have like they have more clothes available. Like if you were to look at the clothes, they have a lot more options in clothing, and for all over prints, everything else. So it kind of depends on what you want to start with. You could easily get started with these, but if you're like, oh, hey, they're mostly clothing, like their products, it has a huge emphasis on clothing, but they do have, like accessories. They do have some, they started with a couple jewelry things, which aren't wonderful. They got some bags. But for the most part, they're mostly clothing. That's like their big thing. Yeah. So yeah, Linda, I hope she's okay too. She's not excited. I just had to schedule an appointment for testing and she's not excited. So it's going to be a long couple of months trying to figure stuff out. So anyway, it'll be interesting to say the least. And maybe I'll write a whole blog article when I'm done, right? No, this is with a whole brand new problem. And yeah, no, her allergies. No, I took her to her pediatrician a couple of weeks ago because she was coughing and wouldn't stop. And he's like, oh, it's her asthma. Just give her inhaler. And I'm like, I don't think it's her asthma. It doesn't sound like asthma. And so we gave her the inhaler over the weekend and everything. And then by Monday, she wasn't doing any better. In fact, she was probably doing worse. So I rushed her into my genius allergist guy, which is where I should have gone in the first place, but I couldn't get in fast enough. And he's like, it's not asthma. It's a freaking sinus infection. And I'm like, oh, look, he diagnosed from a cough again. And sure enough, put her on antibiotics. She was done yesterday and she is better. So I'm like, oh man, I wish he could be my doctor for everything. Yeah, I might know best, but I can't write a prescription. Yeah, and the thing is that the pediatrician made me doubt myself. And I'm going, it doesn't sound like asthma to me. And then when I went into the allergist asthma guy, he's like, Dr. Beatty, he's like, I'm going to go with what you thought, because I said, it sounds more like a cold or something in her nose or whatever. He goes, I agree. And then she has an infection. So he did do tests and everything, but he is literally a genius when it comes to diagnosing from a cough. And among other things, he can diagnose really well. So I'm glad he's our doctor. We just can't find a better pediatrician or general doctor. So anyway, now that's all randomness that people are like, I don't know you. Why do I need to know that? Well, sorry, people on the replay. That's the way we roll. All right, so let's talk a little bit more real quick about what's going on next time, and then we will get out of here. So we've done marketplaces. I'm not going to emphasize the marketplaces too much. That's going to be kind of up to you. If we see like a dominant marketplace like we have with Etsy, we definitely have a course on Etsy that we have available. We have I'm still working on a broader version for intro to e-commerce that will eventually lead to anybody who wants to sell on Etsy can get the other level. For those who are the founding members, you still have access to the sell on Etsy, like 1%er. Yes, Chrissy still is a 1%er. In fact, she's even a better solid 1%er than she was before. So we do have that for the marketplaces. I do not teach Amazon, but if somebody wants to learn Amazon, we do have a referral over to the Amazon course that I recommend. And if we find any other decent training, we'll definitely let you know. But for the most part, those are the only two marketplaces that I know of that really need to have some sort of help to be able to be the most successful on them. eBay's kind of hit and miss. And to be honest, I wouldn't ever buy a course on eBay simply because eBay literally is hit and miss. And it just depends on the product and everything else. But Linda, if you just want to share the video when it goes out, once it goes into the group, once you see it, in fact, I usually try to email out the link too. If you see it, you can just share it straight from YouTube while you're on the YouTube page. Just share it to your page. That would be great because it would be very helpful. If you share the YouTube to your Facebook page, yeah. And then also when you're on YouTube, if you can give it a like and possibly put a comment in, just say, hey, great info, or love the topic, or would love to see more, anything, right? Any type of comment that is along the same lines of the you can't be like, Bubba was eating pizza, because that would not be related, right? And YouTube would somehow they figure that out. So a real comment, not a fake comment. And then, just of course share it. And if you rewatch it or anything else, that's always nice too. Views are good, everything that helps us get more visibility on YouTube, which I think is where we get most of our people coming in from. But we could be getting a lot of spammers coming into the Facebook group, which is like pretty consistent with Facebook nowadays. I feel like that's all that you can find on there is spammers. And I'm like, how do you reach real people? Oh yeah, you have to pay for everything. So that's the best way to kind of help us grow a little bit. But I have a lot of marketing going on, and to see that we're still not seeing, even though we're seeing more people watch the replays, I'm not seeing more people engaging in the Facebook group, or more people, signing up for stuff or anything else. It's interesting to me. Yeah, and maybe that's the case. Maybe dog people are nice, and I'm just getting all the cat people. I'm kidding. For the cat lovers out there, I'm kidding. I know Joanne's not on. She'd be like, wait a second. Am I kidding? I don't know. Cat people. No, Sandra's a cat person. She loves cats. She's a nice person, right?
I used to have cats. I almost died having them, but I almost had them.
Robert almost died with us having them.
Yes. He really almost died. Mine was just a breathing thing. His was a almost heart-stopping thing.
Quite literally.
Yes.
Okay, I laugh, but it's funny in hindsight, and it's not very nice otherwise. It's
because we don't like him now.
Right. Well, he's our former stepfather, and we had cats that needed to go in for shots, and we had one that was a little Charles, I think. Was that?
No, it was Little John.
Oh, Little John. And he escaped and ran into Chrissy's closet. And so I did tell you that he was in your closet, right?
I know. I was there.
Oh, okay. And so our stepdad went to go grab him, and he bit him right in the hand. Now, that was the cat's fault, was biting him. However, it was Robert's fault for not freaking treating it, because he didn't bother to go get it treated, and he went and changed a tire right after that. And he ended up getting it infected. And, they tell you, oh, yeah, if you have an infection because the line starts to go along your arm. Yeah, it did, straight towards his heart. So they had to insert an IV into his arm that went right next to his heart to prevent the infection from getting to his heart. So, yeah, that was one of the most interesting examples of something that's allegedly not true, looking true to me. So they say, oh yeah, you can't tell if you have a whatever type of blood infection with the line. They're like, that's not conclusive. And I'm like, that was pretty freaking conclusive to me. So interesting little episode of science there. And expensive doctor bill, I'm sure, for Robert. So moral of the story is wash your hands.
I've actually talked to, I think it was a doctor or whatever, that said, if you get bit by a cat, plan on visiting a doctor, because it's really hard to clean that.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
I'm not a cat. I don't have any cats. And if I did, they wouldn't bite me. So.
Yeah, who keeps a cat that bites them? Except for Robert's the only one that ever got bit, so maybe it was Robert,
because he
not
was
the cat.
mad about him when he was scared. I know. I got him right afterwards. He didn't bite me once.
Anyway, good times. Okay, that's why it's making all weird things on us. All right.
Good
Well,
sign
Linda,
that we should go.
that's a good sign that we should get going so we don't kill your phone too. And my phone's probably dead because my daughter stole it.
I have a
yeah.
new phone with a really long battery, so mine's got like 70% and it's been on all day. And I've been running like crazy.
Oh, Chrissy, do you have to leave soon? Because I need to talk to you.
Well, let's get off this and talk.
Okay. All right, Linda. Well, thanks for coming. I'm glad that at least you came since nobody else wants to see us or hear us anymore. I don't know what we did. This is why I hate canceling. I cancel one time, and this is what happens. Everybody disappears. So I don't know. Hopefully we'll get some more people on. All right. Well, maybe they're not getting the emails. Who knows? I'm not repeating that, Linda, but thanks. All right. Well, thanks again. And we will see you. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week. If not before then in the group. And if you have any questions, feel free to pop them in the group or message me. Usually do. So we will talk soon and take care. Chrissy, call me.
Okay, bye.
Bye.